Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Ajay once again, and today we are going to see something more on the HTML tables. This is the continuation tutorial of the HTML tables. In the previous tutorial we have seen how to use the row span, col span, and using the attributes we have seen how to merge the columns and the rows of a table and how to have the perfect output that we require. So we have done a lot of practicals in the previous tutorials. So in this particular tutorial we are going to see that how to use the cell spacing and cell padding attribute, what it is and how to use it. And then we are going to see the caption tag, what's the use of the caption tag. Then we are going to see the th tag, okay. And then there is something called as the thead tag and the tbody tag, okay. So these are the tags and the attributes for the tables, okay. So we are still continuing with the same, that is the HTML tables. We are still working on it, and there are many more things to discover. Okay, so let us one by one, let us see what exactly is the cell spacing and cell padding attributes. So this was the code last time, and this was the output. So this was like 1 2 3 4 5 6, so there was 6 columns and some around 7 rows, right? And then we use the col span, row span, and using that we merge the columns and the rows of the table as what we wanted, the way we wanted it, right? So this is the table of 6 columns and 7 rows are there. Now what exactly is cell spacing and cell padding? Okay, now let us go to that code. Now this is the code, and over here you have seen that rules is equal to all. Now the first thing that you need to do is you need to remove this rules is equal to all, and then we will type something like, otherwise do not type anything at this moment, okay. Just click on file and click on save, and you will see something different kind of table. You can see by default there is a space between the two cells. Now these are the two cells and there is one space over here. By default this is a 2 pixel space between the two cells, okay. Now if you really want to increase this space, or you just want to have a zero space, so in that case we need to use the attribute that is called as cell spacing, and I say is equal to 10. So cell spacing will give a space between the two cell that is of 10 pixel, okay. Now let me just save this, and now if you see the output, you can see that now there is a distance between the two cell is of 10 pixel. So the more you keep the value, there will be more the distance you will see between the two cells, okay. So this is how you can use the cell spacing, okay. Now one more thing is, like, if I make this by default the cell spacing is 2, what if I make this as 0, okay. If I make this as 0 and save this, and now you can see the output, we almost all had the same kind of output that we used to have before, but you can see the lines are a bit bold. In fact, they are more darker. Now the reason they are darker is because there are actually two lines between them, because there are two cells, so each cell has its own border, and so you can see these lines are a bit thick, okay. The lines you can see a bit thick over here. So this is how you can use the cell spacing, okay. And then we are going to see what exactly is that is called as cell padding, okay. Now for cell padding is, okay, I'll just come to the next line and I'll say cell padding, okay. And if I say equal to 0, or else what I will do is I don't use this at this point. I'll just cut this, and if I have some contents over here, for example, maybe I want this as the header, and I simply give this as maybe a student record, that is the roll number. And now if I click on file and click on save, and if you see the output over here, there is the text that we wanted. Now the thing is, this particular text is very much close to that border, of the cell. It is, in fact, it is touching that border. It doesn't really look good when we have a professional website. So we need to give some kind of spacing between the text, between this text and the border of the cell. So in that case, you're going to make use of the attribute that is called as cell padding. So it will give a padding of around, maybe I give it as 10. Now if I click on file and click on save, and if you see the output now you can see there is a distance between the text and between that border of that cell, isn't it? Now let me just use a tag which is so that I can make it a bit bigger for you. I will simply use the h4 tag. So we will have a, this is a header tag which I am using so that the font size is a bit bigger. So I'll click on file, click on save. So I've just used the h4 tag over here. We can use h1 to h6. Okay, these are very basic tags that we use in HTML. And now if you see the output, you can see that this is a bit bold. Now if I use maybe h1 tag simply, and now you can see the output. Okay, so here is the output. Now you can see the distance between the text, and the border of the cell. There is a padding of 10 pixel. So this is how you can use it. Okay, so that's about the cell spacing and cell padding. And now next we wanted to see the caption tag. Now what exactly is a caption tag? Now the caption tag is, we can give a heading to our table, and I simply give the heading like simply the student record, or okay, I'll give records, student records, and then the closing tag. Okay, and this particular tag you're supposed to use immediately after the table tag and the attributes that you specify, and then you have to use this tag, that is the caption. So this will give the header to your table. Okay, if you want to give some header, some kind of message above the table, so this will look this will actually solve that purpose. Okay, click on file, click on save, and now if you see the output, you can see a small font, very small text, that is a student record. Let me just use over here, that is the header tag h1, opening and the closing. Okay, so now we will see the output, and here it is, student record. So this is how you can have the caption tag to have some contents just above the table. So that's the use of the caption tag. And then we have something called as the th tag. Now th stands for table header. Now how to use this particular tag? Now normally it is assumed that if you have a table structure in front of you or for the user, it is assumed that the first row is normally about the it's normally the header. Okay, so it just gives the information of the data that is it's going to have. For example, this is roll number. So after these particular cells will have the roll number, right? So this acts like the table header. I'm not talking about this particular text that is just above the table. I'm talking about this table header, which will indicate what kind of data it is. So if there are certain numbers, the user can say, okay, this is a roll number, and then this is a student name, and so on, right? So in that case, you can simply use, in spite of the td tag, you can use the th tag. Now th is very similar to the td tag. The only difference is that your text will be displayed in a bit in a bold way. Okay, the text that will get displayed will be in bold. So I'll just show you how to use the th. So th, that is table header. Okay, so let me just complete this. Opening and closing tags, everywhere I will make changes, and then you can see now this is the roll number, and I'll just copy this, or I'll just remove this h1 tag for just for a few moments, and then I will use student name over here, and over here I will say the class, the section of the student, the age of the student, and the gender. Okay, now let me just click on file and save, and now you can see how it puts the effect on the table. Now you can see that by default that text is in bold, whereas we have not used any b tag to make it bold. And one more change that you can see is it is exactly at the center of the cell. So now you can say, okay, this is the header of the table. Now user, if there is some kind of data, so it will be an indication to the user that this is a roll number, this is like it's the student's name, this is the class of the student, the section of the student, the age and the gender. So after this, whatever the data will be, the data that we will have will be the actual data, and this will act as the header. Now understand that this, technically there is not much of a difference between the th and the td tag. Okay, still this is like just a data, understand it, but yes, it is, no, we have just brought a difference, just making that as a th tag, and this is in a the text is in bold. Okay, now the next thing that we need to look is t head tag and tbody tag. Now this is like very important. So if you really want to make this, technically if you really want to make this as a header of the table, so in that case what you need to do is, just after the caption, you have to use the t head tag, that is the table header. Okay, this is a table header, the same as this, but this will actually become the table header. Okay, that is the t head, and after this you will open a new tag and you will use the tbody. Now tbody, that is table body. So you will start from here and it will go till the last row and you will close it over here. Okay, that is tbody. Now let me just click on file and save, and now you can see the difference that this has actually become the header. Now you may ask, like, there is not much of a difference that you can see on the screen, it is just that it got adjusted, the height of that particular cell got adjusted, more than that nothing happened. But let me tell you, this is actually got this actually become a header. How? Is because in the future, if you're going to make use of JavaScript, and using the JavaScript you're going to make use of CSS and JavaScript, in that case what you will do is you're going to have some effects on the table. In today's time we have the web pages are like the web pages that gets changed in front of you. For example, like you want this table data to get filtered. For example, if I want that, if the user kind of clicks onto the roll number, so if this is from 1 to 7 or 1 to 6, and if I click over here, then it will become 7 to 1, so it's getting sorted order. Or maybe in the future you want a text box over here, and whatever the user types, okay, whatever the user types, according to that this particular data in the table will get filtered. So maybe you type a student name, so this particular table will get filtered, and only that one record of that student you can see. Okay, so to achieve that, now we are not going to get into CSS and the JavaScript or the jQuery. Okay, but I just wanted to tell you the difference when you're going to use that. In that case, what you need to do is you're going to make use of this tbody tag and the thead tag, because the thead tag, now once you apply some kind of filtration, okay, for example, you type something like any name of the student, and the student name is over here, so only that thing, okay, this table will get shrinked, and you can only see that particular row. Okay, but what if you type student name in a text box, so student name is also there, right? So in that case this should not get affected, I mean this header should not get filtered. So for achieving that, what we need to do is we need to, okay, keep that header as a separate part, and that's the use of this thead tag, so that the complete thead tag will not come to effect when we try to filter the data from the table. So in the future we are going to make use of the jQuery and CSS, and I will show you how to make use of jQuery or JavaScript and CSS, and then how this thead and the tbody kind of will help us. Okay, so at this point understand that this has a lot of meaning. Okay, otherwise as far as display is concerned, it is all very same. Okay, so this is how the thead and the tbody, so this entire all the other cells or all the other rows comes under the tbody tag. Okay, so we will only apply the filter in the tbody tag. Okay, so this is the tags and the attributes. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and if you really think that you have achieved something from this tutorial, do subscribe to my channel. Okay, that's it for today. Bye for now.